All right, friends, this is going to be your review video for the 7th grade CBA. Remember that you are supposed to be completing the review prior to coming here to check your answers. This is not supposed to be where you sit and copy down everything that I am telling you. You need to try it on your own first, and then you need to come back here to check your answers. These questions on this review are going to be very much like the ones that are on your CBA. I need you guys to bear with me because remember, each of these videos kind of shuts off at 15 minutes. There's probably going to be more than one. Here we go. Number 1, which situation is best described by the equation 5x minus 12 is equal to 32? So we have a coefficient of 5. We are taking away 12, removing 12, decreasing by 12, all of those things. And we are going to have a total of 32. So we need to figure out a situation that represents that equation. So the temperature begins at 12 degrees below zero, okay, and falls 5 degrees each hour to reach 32 degrees. Well, if we are 12 degrees below zero, guys, that's going to be a negative 12, okay, and then we are going to fall 5 degrees. So this is going to be a negative 5. We don't have a negative 5 here, okay, we have a positive 5. So A is not the correct answer. The temperature begins at 12 degrees below zero, okay, so again a negative 12, and rises 5 degrees each hour to reach 32 degrees. How many hours did it take the temperature to reach 32 degrees? Okay, well this time we do have a positive 5 per hour, okay, so that's with our variable. And then we're going to reach 32 degrees. So I'm going to put a dot by this one and come back to it, okay? That one might be our situation that matches. The temperature begins at 5 degrees and falls 12 degrees each hour. Okay, so this would make it a negative 12x because it is happening each hour. In our equation, we don't have a variable next to our 12. This 12 isn't a coefficient, it's called a constant. So C is not our answer choice. For D, the temperature begins at 5 degrees and rises 12 degrees each hour. Okay, so this is going to be a positive 12x, but again, 12 is our constant in this situation and is not attached to a variable. So our answer choice is going to be B. We would write that situation 5x minus 12, I'm sorry, not 3, minus 12 is equal to 32. Okay. This one would have been negative 5x minus 12 is equal to 32. That's not what we have. Answer choice C would have been negative 12x plus 5 is equal to 32. And this one would have been 12x plus 5 is equal to 32. So B is the one that matches our equation. For number 2, which number line best represents the solution to the inequality? 6 is greater than or equal to 11 minus 2x. Okay? When Mrs. Brown solves inequality, she likes for the variable to be first. So she's going to rewrite this up here. Negative 2x, because that's what we have here, negative 2x plus 11. Okay? And because I'm flipping the way that this is written, I want to have is less than or equal to 6. Okay? Because I'm rewriting this. So because this is now on my left-hand side, I need to change my inequality symbol. And then I solve it just like I do an equation. My constant is 11. So I want to undo this with an inverse operation. So I'm going to take 11 away from both sides. Okay, that gives me negative 2x is less than or equal to negative 11 and 6. When I combine those, I get a negative 5. Okay, then I want to divide both sides by negative 2. That's going to give me x. And because I divided by a negative 2, I have to flip this inequality symbol. And negative 5 divided by 2 is going to give me 2.5. But that 2.5 is going to be a positive number. Okay? So x is greater than or equal to 2.5. Okay? So remember, this little greater than sign is going to match the direction of my arrow. So keep that in mind. Okay? If we keep that in mind, we have 2.5 here on our number line, but then it's moving to the left. Well, that's everything that's less than 2.5. That's not what we have, okay? Because we have an equal to symbol, we want our dot to be closed, so it's not going to be H. So that takes us down to F and J. Well, J begins at 1.5 or 1.5. And then F begins at 2.5 or 2.5. However, if you want to write it as a decimal or you want to write it as a fraction. So F is going to be the correct answer choice and include all of the solutions that are greater than 2.5. Okay, let's look at number 3. I'm going to fold my paper a bit so it's a little bit easier to see. Okay. So it says, which values satisfy this inequality? So what we're going to do is solve this problem. Okay. And then we are going to come up with our solution to the inequality and then figure out which one of these numbers up here will fit within that solution of the inequality. Okay. So I have my variable on my left-hand side, so I don't need to rewrite anything. So we have negative 1/2 of x plus 3 is greater than or equal to 5. So I'm going to take 3 away from both sides because that's my constant. My inverse operation would be to subtract it. And then I have a negative 1/2 of x is greater than or equal to 5 minus 3. So that's going to be 2. Okay. So now I have multiplication happening to this variable. It's implied multiplication because it's right next to that variable, okay? I want to undo that with division, but because I'm dividing by a fraction, that really means that I am multiplying by a reciprocal of negative 2 over 1. So I'm going to multiply both sides by negative 2 over 1, okay? That's going to give me x by itself. And because I multiplied by a negative, I have to flip that inequality symbol, okay? So then I have 2 times negative 2 would be negative 4. And I can write it over 1, but remember, guys, if I have x is less than or equal to negative 4, then what's going to happen is x is less than or equal to 4, okay? So what I need to do is, all right, that is going to be a negative 4. I'm sorry, guys. X is less than or equal to negative 4. So if I go over here, and remember, this should be a negative 6, a negative 4, a negative 3, a negative 1, a 0, and a 2, then my numbers that are less than negative 4, less than or equal to negative 4, would be a negative 6 and a negative 4. Those are the ones that are solutions that would satisfy the inequality because they would be included in this situation. X is less than or equal to negative 4, so that's negative 6 is less than negative 4, and negative 4 is equal to negative 4. So your answer choice here should be J. All right, let's look at number 4. Which inequality has the solution x is less than or equal to negative 4? So what we're going to do in these answer choices is to plug in negative 4 as a solution to these inequalities and to see if the inequalities are true, okay? So we are going to do A first. So A says negative 5x. So our x is negative 4 plus 8 is less than or equal to 12. So we have a negative 5 times a negative 4, so that's going to be 20, plus 8 is less than or equal to 12, okay? 20 plus 8 is 28. Is that less than or equal to 12? No, it's not, so it's not going to be B. That's not going to be an inequality that has a solution of x is less than or equal to 4. Or it's not going to be A, I'm sorry. For B, we have 5 times our x, which is negative 4, is greater than or equal to 12, okay? So we have a negative 20, and then don't forget that minus 8. Minus 8 is greater than or equal to 12, and we can combine these two since they're both negative amounts. So negative 28 is greater than or equal to 12. That is not true, okay? So then for C, I'm going to come down here. Negative 5 times negative 4 minus 8 is greater than or equal to 12. So I have 20 minus 8 is greater than or equal to 12. 20 minus 8 is 12. Is that greater than or equal to 12? Well, it's equal to 12. So we're going to come back to C. And then D, we have 5 times negative 4 plus 8 is greater than or equal to 12. So negative 20 plus 8 is greater than or equal to 12. Negative 20 and a positive 8 would be a negative 12. is greater than or equal to 12. That is also not true. So for C, negative x is less than or equal to negative 4 is the only one that can solve that inequality. Okay. A second way that you could solve this exact same problem is just to solve all of these inequalities and then have the one that comes up with the solution, x is less than or equal to negative 4, be your answer choice. If what Mrs. Brown just did was confusing for you, you could also simply just solve the inequalities and look for the one that has a solution of x is less than or equal to negative 4. It's whatever feels easier or better for you, okay? So there's multiple ways that you could solve that problem. For number 5, which equation has the solution x is equal to 16? So again, we can plug in 16 for all of our x's, or we can solve all of these equations and figure out which one has x is equal to 16. Because I plugged in the solution over here, I'm going to go ahead and just solve these equations and then figure out which has the one x is equal to 16, just to show you a different way to solve them, okay? So for A, we have 1/2 of x minus 11 is equal to 5. So we are going to add 11 to both sides, and that gives us 1/2 of x is equal to 16. Then my inverse operation would be to divide both sides by 1/2, but that really just means I'm multiplying by the reciprocal of 2/1. So that gives me x is equal to 16 times 2, which is 32. So A has a solution of 32. That's not going to be our answer choice, okay? Then B, we have 1/2 of x minus 3 is equal to 5. Add 3 to both sides. 1/2 of x is equal to 8. And remember, I'm dividing by 1/2, so I'm really multiplying by the reciprocal, which is 2/1. And that gives me x by itself. 8 times 2 is 16. So it's probably going to be B, but we're going to go ahead and solve the rest of them. I am at 12 minutes and 30 seconds right now, guys. So I'm going to go ahead and pause, and then I'll come back and solve the rest of them with you.